Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. In today's video, we are going to finish off the spring of 1917 turn in our demonstration game of Global War 1914. A lot has happened so far this turn, and a lot is going to happen for the rest of the turn. Just like I said in the last couple of videos, this is going to be a pivotal year. Not just the spring of 1917, but summer and fall as well. We may see by the end of this year who's going to win this game. We'll see. First nation we're going to play in this one is the Ottoman Empire, as France was the last one in the last turn. However, before we get to that, I just want to make one roll. So I had noticed when I was editing the last video that I made a mistake there when I rolled first strike for the German trench fighters, and they got a targeted hit when they took off, and they took off a tank for that. The problem was that they were on defense, and so it shouldn't have been first strike. So it is a hit, and we'll give them that. But and we'll take that tank off like we did, but we will give the tank their shot first before theoretically he was taken off. So a tank is at 4 or less offense, and here we go. And it's a miss. Anyway, I feel better now. The world is right. Okay, so the Ottoman Empire, they have one major factory, and they're going to go for improved factories. That's a 7 or less, and they get it. So that's stage 1 in improved factories. I can't reach it from here. I'll get it later. So first stage 1 in improved factories. Next, they have a free roll on the diplomacy chart, and they're in big trouble. I'll show you in a second. And their main rival here is the British. I don't think they can get the British back militarily, but diplomatically, the British are at stage 3 diplomacy with Belgium. So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to intervene there, and they need a 2 or less to take Belgium back down to stage 2. And so here we go. No, that's a 12. Okay. So that's it. So let's just get to it then. Let's show you what we got going on here. So the British have been setting up all game to go after the Ottoman Empire. They're using their bases in Africa and in India especially. And this everybody but this colonial troop here is in northern Iraq. Actually, this guy's in southern Iraq, but all of these guys are in northern Iraq, and it like you wouldn't expect them to have won that battle as handily as they did. They had a really good role, and the Ottomans did not have a good role, and consequently there's a ton of units there. The Ottomans just weren't expecting that. I mean, you're expecting just a normal roll, and then they would have a chance to go back at them, right? But there's just no way. They just don't have enough units to attack into the desert, attack all of those units. And so they're going to have to set up defensively. The other thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to make enough mandatory offensive in Russia, because the Russians have gone to revolution. But they are refusing peace terms because they don't recognize that that they're at war with the Central Powers. And so the Central Powers have to go up there and kick them in the nuts and say, yeah, what do you think of this then? Does this look like war to you? And that's what they'll be doing. The Austro-Hungarians and the Germans have both attacked the Russians, and now the Ottomans must do that to force Russia to negotiate a peace settlement. And so I think what they're going to do, because of what happened with the British, they're only going to attack this one territory here. They really would have liked to have attacked these guys, but they're going to need all those units up there for the British, right? Like I said, they just weren't expecting the British to get through there so easily. The one good thing that is going on for the Ottomans is what is going on with Austria-Hungary, and that is that Austro-Hungarian Empire took out Romania very easily, kind of like what the British did to the Ottomans, right? And because of that, the Ottomans are not going to have to help the Austro-Hungarians in the Balkans. The Austro-Hungarian or the Ottomans had been sending units into the Balkans to help out take out Greece and the French, and that's just not going to be necessary anymore. So they've got 2 infantry and a tank or an artillery here, and they've got 1 infantry here, and they can start moving those back to the Ottoman home country and use those against the British as well. And they do have, what have they got there? Improved logistics. So that'll help with the rail movement. That'll give them +1 in the rail movement, and they'll be able to get those guys down there a little bit faster. Anyway, let's get going, shall we? So, I guess we've only got that 1 attack. And it doesn't really matter if we get it or not. Like, we could just take 1 dude in there if we want, right? We just have to make the attack. We don't have to be successful. So let's you know what? Let's go at them with just this mountain infantry here. So the mountain infantry will be at 2, and you know what? No, let's go at them with the mountain infantry and a regular infantry as well. Just because we would rather lose the infantry than the mountain infantry if they get a lucky roll of 2 there. So we've got 1 at 1 and 1 at 2 then. Okay. So the mountain infantry will be the brown one, and the infantry will be the green one, and the Russian will be the red one. And here we go. Okay, miss, everybody missed. Okay, so I guess they'd have to go back there, wouldn't they? I should have attacked with a different infantry, but I didn't, so let's just do it again. They've got 3 rounds. And that's a hit. So that is the Russian militia off. And the good thing about taking that territory is that they will get another free roll on the diplomacy chart. So there we go. Okay. Now, we've got a whole lot of non-combat moves to go now. So we're going to bring this infantry down to here. And we'll bring the Ottoman guards down. The Russians can't attack this turn. Even though their turn is next, they're not allowed to attack anybody this turn. Okay, and let's bring this artillery here over. Back over here. Okay. And put a chip under this guy. Take this one off. Just give us a little bit more room over there. By the way, that territory we took isn't worth any IPP. We're not going to be able to collect anything there. Let's move these 2 infantry over as well. I would rather lose North Persia than this territory over here. Let's move this infantry up here and these 2 over here. Now, I've got a rail movement of 2 instead of 1 in Asia, and it's 3 or 4 in Europe. So I'm going to move an infantry and an artillery from Serbia all the way down to here. And let's take the artillery into here. Okay. And then I can also move this infantry to here. Move this guy down. Move these 3 guys up. Move this guy down, this guy down. This artillery, this artillery. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's just put 2 chips there since we're putting more on anyway. Did you just call me a moron? Let's move one of these dudes down. So we'll just take this one here. This spot here, Palestine, is probably going to be attacked this turn, or next turn, I mean. The British have already gone this turn. Used all my rail movement up. Okay, placing units. I'll place colonial troop here. Colonial troop here. And I've got a trench fighter. I'm going to put a trench fighter back in Istanbul, or Constantinople as it was known back then. And I've got 3 infantry. So 1, 2, 3. And that's everything. That's everybody. Okay. Now, let's see. We're at 10 IPP for income. And we have wartime economy. We're looking for a big roll here. We could really use it. 6, that's not great. Okay, 16. And there we go. So that's it for the Ottoman Empire. Let's move on to the Kingdom of Italy. Okay, so as we stare across the Alps there at the Austro-Hungarians, the Austrians have more than us. We've got more, about the same amount of infantry class units, but no, actually we got a little bit less. Anyway, it's about even, so it's really not a good idea to attack, especially attacking a trench line in the mountains. And so, of course, we're not going to attack them. We don't really have any target for our boats. So all we're going to do is that attrition attack with the artillery. But before that, we do have one major factory. The Italians and the Japanese don't engage in diplomacy, but they do develop technology. So they're going to go for wartime economy, and they could really use it. 7, and they get it. So that brings them to stage 4. Now every playable nation has wartime economy. I could probably take all those pies off of there. There's just a mass of them at the end there. They don't even fit on there anymore. So that's what I'll do after this round is over. Anyway, we've got 4 artillery at 1 shooting into Austria. And nothing. Okay. So the Italians, all they are going to do is they have 8 IPP. They're going to place 1 artillery and 1 infantry in Italy. Northern Italy, to be specific. So now they have 5 artillery plus 1 more infantry. Okay. And they now get a wartime economy roll. So 8 plus 8 is 16. Well, that's twice as good as they were before. And the Italians are done. Let's move on to Japan. Okay, so the Japanese have 1 major factory, and they're at stage 2 of improved construction right now. They're going to go for stage 3 here. And no, that's a 1. Okay. They know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go 1, 2, bring these guys down to the Solomon Islands, and same here, Solomon Islands with these guys. The artillery doesn't get off the boat on the first round, of course, but the other guys are hoping that the cruisers and the dreadnoughts are going to pound the shore and pound that German into submission. Let's try it out. Okay. We'll go. The 2 dreadnoughts are black, the 2, and they'll be at 4, and the 2 cruisers are yellow, and they're at 2. So here we go. One hit. That's all they needed, was just the 1 hit. So that is 1 dead German. Okay. I set something down here and I can't find it now. Oh, there they are. Okay, non-combat moves. I don't believe that I have any. So what I'm going to do, I guess, is just place my units. And what I bought was 2 cruisers that I'm going to place on stage 3 and 1 transport, which I will place right here. Okay, so there's the 2 cruisers right here. Okay. And, oh, they do have wartime economy, so I guess I gotta roll that. They're collecting 7 IPP. That territory that we took is not worth anything. 9. Okay. And so they get more money this time than they have before. Plus they saved a dollar lot from last time. So they're actually going to have 17 IPP for next turn. Okay, there we go. So it's the Americans next, and that's going to be a big turn. All right, it's time for the United States to go. And this is going to take a while because there's a lot to get to when it comes to the United States and when they hit their 37 IPP, which is the level at which they can decide what type of involvement that they want in World War One. We know by historical fact what they did choose, but there were other choices available and lots of pressures inside the United States to choose other options rather than the one that they did choose, which was to go to war in Europe against the Central Powers. So let's take a look at it. When you reach 37 IPP, option A. This is what they did do, in fact, and that is declare war. You may declare war on the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary. You must pay 5 IPP if you want to declare war on the Ottoman Empire or other Central Powers Alliance members. You can do this anytime. Now, there are no other Central Power Alliance members. That's referring to if either Italy or Japan had joined the Central Powers, it would cost you 5 IPP to declare war on them each as well. And the other thing you can do with option A, you can lend lease any type of unit to nationalist China. So, I mean, you could be sending heavy artillery over there or artillery or whatever you want, right? And that will be a regular type of lend lease though. So, you know, where you've got to go use railways and rivers and ports to do that. Not like the what we've been doing so far where you send the supplies over and you could just send them anywhere. This is actual lend lease. And the reason that you would do this is it provides the best chance at the global dominance victory objective. So let's just take a look at that global dominance victory objective. Now, there's not a lot of points that are available to the Americans, only 4 in fact, excluding any of the capitals and anything like that. But as far as just points go, there's only 4 of them. One of them, global dominance. Score 1 victory objective if at the end of the game the USA is at war with the Central Powers, has 18 or more land units in Europe, and more dreadnoughts than Great Britain. So they've got a ways to go on the dreadnought front because there's only 1 dreadnought for the Americans right now, and I believe the the British have 4 of them, right? Even though it's their ally, they're basically um, it's a measuring stick. These points aren't about taking territories necessarily, right? They're measuring sticks of what should have been if the United States, in this case, was successful in World War One, and success to them would be growing their navy as one example. So that would be that one. But I mean, they could also achieve a couple of other ones by doing the same thing. They could also achieve the Pacific security, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And they could get a point for enforcing the Monroe Doctrine, although they've got a bit of work to do on that one as well. Then we move to option B, and that is Pacific focus. Now, this option is one that we're obviously not going to go for in this game because Japan is on the side of the Allies in this game. But if Japan had gone to the Central Powers in this game, then this would be an option for us. So you can declare war on Central Powers Japan only. You may not declare war on any other Central Powers unless they declare war on you. The USA may lend-lease any type of unit to nationalist China, and this provides the best chance for the Pacific security victory objective. So that's the only point basically you'd be going for, other than enforcing the Monroe Doctrine. So the first one shows us we can get 3 points out of it. This one shows us we can get 2 points out of it. And then the last choice, option C, this is one that my partner Bob watching this video, he's probably laughing already. This is one that we argued about for years because I'm not a fan of it. But, it was historically accurate, like it was an option to them. I just, as a game perspective, I didn't like it. And believe me, it has changed. This one used to be where the United States player just says, you know what, this game's over, I'm tired, everybody go home. Nobody wins. Basically, that's what this rule used to say. We argued and argued for years, and we finally got it down to what it is right now, and that is a peace without victory. So, you may choose not to declare war, but impose diplomatic solutions and exert U.S. moral authority. So A, Wilson, that was the American president. Wilson attempts to negotiate an end to the war. Make a variable end die roll each turn at the start of the U.S. turn. Start at 1 and increase by 1 each turn. Add +1 to the requirement for every major power capital that is enemy owned. Each time you fail, U.S. plays 5 IPP to the bank. B, no nation may blockade or close straits. They can close canals. C, all submarines reduced to rating at +0. And D, may lend lease to both alliances. So you could lend lease to the Central Powers, not just the Allies if you wanted. And this provides the best chance for the neutrality victory objective. And so that objective, if we take a look at it, is score 1 victory objective if the USA loses less than 10 land units and less than 2 capital ships in the game, or the war ends with alliance total victory points less than or equal to 3 point different. Add this victory objective after the others are scored. So if you had a question in your mind a minute ago as to why one might lend lease to both sides, that's why. Because you're trying to even the game out, right? And to do that, you get a point out of it. And I'm still not entirely certain how that would be very beneficial to you, because you're still only getting 1 point towards victory. But anyway, it is an option, and it's something that the U.S. had thought about back then. They had thought about just telling everybody, cool it! And everybody was just supposed to drop their guns. So that's option C, and probably not one that you'll ever see on my table. Not just from me, but I will house rule that one out. Sorry, Bob. Still don't like it. I mean, it is an option, though. It's part of the game. It's much, much better than what it originally was, which was everybody get out of my house, I'm going to bed, and the game is over. Anyway, so those are the three options that the Americans have to choose from. Now, in this game, if you've been following along, so you're probably thinking, okay, I do this, I do this. I'm telling you what I'm doing, though. I'm declaring war. I'm taking option A. So I can declare war on the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary. An extra 5, I can declare war on the Ottoman Empire. Lend-lease any type of unit to nationalist China. And see if I can go for those 3 points. Now, it's not going to be easy because, here, let me just get ready here. Now, it's not going to be easy. When you look at enforcing the Monroe Doctrine, we've got our work to do here. So we did start out well. We took out Mexico. Mexico had gone to the Germans, and that's actually, the way it worked out really well for us, because the Germans hardly got any benefit out of that. They got to collect 1 IPP. I'm not even sure that they killed an American over there. They might have killed one, I'm not sure, but it really didn't work out well for the Germans, and it worked out really well for the Americans. So they're going to have to take out these Germans down here, and that was just a strategy that I'd used for the Germans. There's a million different things that you can do in this game, and that's just the one that I chose to do for them. And you know, like, you can't do everything, so I had to sacrifice putting that many units in, say, either Africa or Asia, or even up in Europe, and you could imagine transposing those over, how that would have helped. One of the questions that I got from a viewer earlier in this series was, why bother going for those countries down in South America? Because that moved America closer to war by doing that. Like, they got 3 IPP for Chile, and they got 3 IPP for those guys as well, the Argentinians. Why not just go for other nations, like, you know, like Norway or Netherlands or things like that? And yeah, you can do that too. Like, that's just another way to go. The reason that I did it this way is exactly the way it's turned out. Now the Americans, they're at 37 IPP and they're ready to declare war. What they should have is about 5-6 transports there right now, with a whole bunch of Marines all ready to go over to the war over here. And you know, they're not. Actually, they don't even need Marines, because they can just go drop infantry and artillery down and go over, land them in France, and then move over. And in fact, they could have gone at 30 IPP over to England and started staging for it. But instead, they've got to come down here and they've got to root out the Germans. And like, they can do both. They can go one and the other. But again, the Germans have distracted the Americans. And so that's why I did this as the German player. I did this on purpose to draw the Americans away from Europe. And I think it worked. You know, like, I could ignore this. I could ignore this point. But really, you know, like, what am I doing? I'm going for a single point up here. There's a single point down here, right? So what am I going to do? Like, there is points available to the Germans, right? And I could help prevent them there. And I could take a look at everybody's points, see if there's any type of points for the Central Powers in South America. These are the things that you have to look through the rule book to determine, right? So one other thing, now that the Americans are at 37 IPP, that means they no longer have to build their wartime economy up to 37. And so they can now collect for all the territories that they own outside of America. And that would be here, 1, 2, 3. I don't think this one's worth any. Pretty sure it's not. No, it isn't. Okay, so that guy's over there. Okay. So that's 3, plus Mexico is 4, plus Cuba is 5. So they go from 37, they go to 40. Oh, They throw the roundel around, see if they can hit somebody. 37 to 42 IPP, just like that. There we go. And let's begin their turn. So they are going to, they've got four major factories. So they're going to go depth charges and hydrophones first. That's a 7. They get it. And they're going to go convoy system next. That's a, and they get that one. Okay, and they're going to go improve factories. And they get that one. Wow, they're on a roll here. And improved logistics. And they missed that one. Ironically, that's probably the one they could have used most. With going to stage 3 on improved factories, they do get improved recruitment, but it's really not going to help them that much. All it means is that in city territories, they can boost the recruitment or the manpower icon by 1 in those territories. So like here, if we just take a look at Calcutta, there's a 3 here on the manpower icon. If Calcutta was owned by the Americans, then that would be a 4 instead of a 3. So it's not going to help them that much because their cities are back in the United States, and how much stuff do they really want to put there, right? I suppose it could be good for staging their units to go across the water, but other than that, it's not going to help them much. So they aren't going to pay for 2 diplomatic roles, and they don't have any freebies right now. They're going to go for Peru. And they're at stage 1 on Peru already. So they need a 3 or less, and they missed. And they're going to go for the Netherlands, which has started up the German track. So that means they need a 2 or less. And they missed that one. Okay. Okay, let's look at what the Americans have purchased. They had 32 IPP left after their diplomacy rolls. Now, they do have improved construction, so their ships are going to cost 1 less per stage, right? And since transport is only 1 stage, it's only 1 IPP less in total. So that's 6. They bought American infantry. They're lend-leasing China and artillery, and they're lend-leasing Italy, France, and the United States, each an infantry as well. So, oh, and then one of these is coming off. So, and then they also have placed 3 American dreadnoughts because they want to get that global dominance. They're going to have more dreadnoughts, and the Americans with these 3 will have 5, and the British have 4 on the board. So that'll help them. But they need to start them now so that they can get them going, right? Now, like with improved construction, I could go 2 stages, but it's cheaper for me as well. And if I do it with enough time left, then I can do it like this, right? So that's what I've decided to do. And also, because America's declared war, that means they get to put these guys on that were reserves from the beginning of the game. So let's just place these guys over here. There we go. Now, attack moves. Let's see what they got here. So they got 3, 4, 5 guys. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. No artillery. It's a shame that we couldn't hit this from a transport, right? They just can't, though. You know what we could do, though? Let me see. 1, 2. Yeah, it's a shame transports don't go 1 more space. You know what? I'm going to do it anyway. So let's come down here with this, and we'll bring the artillery and a marine down to, is that Patagonia? Yes, Patagonia. And should we go for that right now? See, if I wait 1 turn, I can come in there with artillery as well. Let's do that. Let's wait one turn on that. The Americans, though, they're going to grab one of those guys from eastern Mexico. Let's grab the Marine. And they're going to go all the way over here. Because they can't go from here. They've got nothing over here. But anyway, they're going to take this territory out. So that the Germans don't start placing guys down there. What is that? Yeah, there's a recruitment thing down there. So there we go. Now the Americans are not going to have to garrison this one. They will have to garrison the east one if they want to collect the IPP for it. Okay, so we've got one combat, I guess. I believe that's all we have. I can't see anywhere else that we can hit anybody. So we've got a pre-dread at 3 and a cruiser at 2, and we're really hoping to hit this one. Missed. Oh well. That looks like it's not a mountain territory where we're attacking from. So we've got a Marine at 3. Got him. And they've got an infantry at 4. Missed. Wow, that was good for us, because if they hit us, then the artillery can't get off the boat, right? Okay. So the Americans go up $1 to 43. The Germans go down $1 to 35. So that's their starting income. And now we are starting to surround the Germans in South America. So that was a good start. Non-combat moves. Let's just move this over here. I guess I'm going to have to leave one of these guys down here, aren't I? Okay, let's take the artillery up to here. And might as well move this transport up. That's why I only brought the transport to here, because I don't have a major naval base here, and 2 spaces gets me back. Okay, then we had a transport that was there to begin with. So let's bring, I don't think there's any German subs in the water. Let's bring one of these anyway. We can go 3 spaces from the major naval base. We're going to bring those guys over. Place them in British-held Portugal. There we go. So you can see here, the Americans came over to Portugal. And there's one more thing. I've got a seaplane on the west coast. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3. We'll put him at the seaplane base there. There we go. So he's at a seaplane base there in Florida. Okay. And for the first time, well, I guess we got to put our stuff on, don't we? Okay. Let's just put this in here. Take this one off. Let's move this guy up as well. Okay. Now we can place an infantry here. And we'll place our 4 infantry that were in reserve for us right here. Place our transport there. Okay. Now we're going to place an infantry in Italy, France, and Britain, plus an artillery in China. Let's just place that artillery first. Now, normal Lend-Lease, so we have to go through a port here. We could go to this port, but let's go to this one. Okay, so Italy, France, and Britain. And there we go. That's everybody. Okay. Now we've got wartime economy. And the Americans are at 43. Just looking to see if they were at stage 2 with anybody. They're not. So 43 plus 7 is 50 IPP for the Americans. They didn't save any, so they're just at 50. Oh, by the way, America declares war on Germany and Austria-Hungary. Let's move on to the Chinese. Okay, it's time for China. So let's go to the Warlord card deck. And Feng Xian, add 1 infantry to any territory. Okay. Okay, so I'll add 1 to Western Manchuria. That's pretty handy. Okay. Ennui, add 1 artillery to any territory. Well, that's even handier. We'll take that one and put them in Peking, where there's already an artillery and most likely attack point for the Nationalists this turn. Last card. Nationalists are looking for a card. No. Shaanxi, add 1 mountain infantry to any territory. Okay. So let's take a look here. So I added the infantry up here, added the artillery right here, and then these 2 yellow territories. It doesn't really matter which one I go to. I think I'd rather go to this one down here because that's going to make them come back to me. So let's grab our yellow. He's yellow. There we go. He's got to attack that guy. So 1 at 2 into mountain territory and return 1 at 4. So yellow one is attacking at 2. And the defense hits at 4. That was short-lived. Alrighty. And the Nationalists have 6 IPP. They're going to buy 2 dudes. Okay. We've got 2 choices, I think. So we've got these guys here we can take up here. If we do that though, oh, there is a manpower icon there. We can, okay, let's do that. We got to be careful because we don't want to leave any territories empty, because if they get a card placing a unit, then that's where they place them, right? Better off to being able to defend. Now I'd like to attack Peking here. So let's go with everybody we got here, except one of these guys. And we're going into a city. Let's just take a look here. I don't think there's anything else to do with that, just to going into a city. Yeah. Okay. So all of this stuff here. That's 3 infantry, 3 artillery, 2 militia. The militia can attack because they're in home country, right? This guy's actually back here. 3, or is that 2? No, that's 3. 3, 2, and 2. Okay. Oh, we've got this cavalry as well. Can't forget the cavalry. All right. That's what we're doing. Okay. So 3 Nationalist artillery versus 2 Ennui artillery. 1, 2 for the Nationalists and 1 for the Ennui. Okay. Let's take off 1 artillery and 1 militia for the Ennui. The reason we're doing that, of course, is because we don't want to give up that territory. And the artillery is already shot. Otherwise, there's no way I'd be taking off an artillery. Okay, so then we have 3, the Nationalists are going to take off 1 militia. So the Nationalists have 1 militia at 1. Missed. And then they've got 3 infantry kicked up by artillery, so they'll be at 3, plus the cavalry's at 3, so that's 4 at 3. One, 2. Ah, wow, they're doing pretty good. So that's 2 hits for the Nationalists. Now, the other guys have 3 infantry and a militia. Now they're +1 for being in a city, right? So the militia is at 3. Missed. And the infantry are at 5s. Oh man. Wow. No hits. Okay. So that's not good for the Ennui. So they're going to take off this guy, and might as well take off this guy because their infantry are going to defend at 5. Yeah, anyway. Okay. So they've got 3 at 4 and 4 at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Got them. Now these guys are going to need some dice here. 3 at 5. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Now if they would have got some hits on the first round. Okay, these guys are all off. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. That's worth an IPP. So the Nationalists go up to 7. Okay. Now we got our other attack over here. And the Nationalists, or sorry, the Warlord's chance to get some revenge on the Nationalists. So they got 1 artillery at 3 going into mountains. Missed. And then 4 infantry. So 3 infantry at 1 and 1 at 2. He's boosted by artillery. That's a hit. No, that's a miss. He was at 1. Okay. And then the other guys are 2 at 2. Misses. Ooh. Okay, let's try that again. Got the artillery. Missed. And then 3 at 1 and 1 at 2. Misses. And then 2 at 2. 1 hit. Okay, we'll lose an infantry. So then we got an artillery at 3. Missed. And 2 infantry at 1 and 1 at 2. Misses. Okay. And then 2 at 2. Misses. Okay, that's it. So the warlords held there. And they didn't lose anything. That's what she looks like. And over there. Okay, now it's the warlord's turn. They can attack back, although I don't think it's a good idea over there because they got to go against power. And this one, they've only got an infantry and a militia, so they're not going to do that. And they've got one more turn before they should start non-combat moving guys for the Manchurians up there. Or the guys in Manchuria, sorry, they're not Manchurians. I suppose they probably are. They're the Fengshians. Okay, not going to do it. Okay. So, non-combat, oh, I forgot the non-combat move for these guys. Let's take this on the rails up here, and that's about all I can do. Okay, placing units. Let's place both infantry. Okay, let's place one up here and one right here. All right, and that's it for China. And that is it for this round. So, thanks for joining me in this video. In our next video, we're going to move into the summer. And the Germans are the only ones that don't have their mandatory offensive in over here in Europe. And they're looking pretty strong, and they've got some mustard gas. So I think there's a pretty good chance the Germans are going to go for it. Anyway, join me next time. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.